reading from it is superior to all principles.
Yes, yes, Rangadhar.
So it is what? The Ananda plane. In fact, I'll go back to the first line, the last two words of the first line. In the Ananda, all law ceases. In other words, total freedom. There are no limits, no conditions, nothing at all. Absolute freedom. All law ceases, and there is an absolute freedom without binding term or limit. Even difficult for us to understand that. But that is absolute, total freedom. No laws at all. It is superior to all principles, and in one and the same motion, the enjoyer of all principles. So, when it says it is superior to all principles, obviously it's the third level. It's the third level, okay, the supermind. And in one and the same motion, the enjoyer of all principles. Where are all the principles? They are in the cosmos. So he is talking of a condition where you go to the highest level, you are in the transcendent and you are also in the cosmic. And your individuality is there, but it is not stuck in the body-mind life. Your body-mind life may still be there, waiting for you in the physical world, but your consciousness is out. And this consciousness, normally, when it goes so high, it is not in the physical world, the body-mind life is not conscious. It's in a trance. Because trance is the consciousness has gone up and the link with the physical world is generally cut. But it is possible also to be in a waking consciousness. But whether it is possible to be in a waking consciousness from that highest level, it may be possible, but it's very, very rare. Very rare indeed. Mostly it's in trance condition. I remind you that when Mother was in the supramental world, she was in the physical world, there was no awareness. She was actually sleeping. Sleeping is the word we use, but actually it's not sleeping at all. Your consciousness has gone high up. Okay? And it is not connected with the body. I say that because she says in that experience that the clock struck 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that clock striking 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the sound pulled her down into the body. She didn't want to come down, but she was forced to come down from that level. That's what I mean by trance. Your body-mind life is not conscious. You are up there and your consciousness is full. You remember everything, you remember. Fully awakened consciousness. So this is in fact, in one letter to Motilal Roy in Chandanagar, he writes, I was in Parabrahman consciousness. That's right. I was in Parabrahman consciousness for several hours. So obviously Parabrahman consciousness, in the beginning, it has to be in trance only. It can't be anything else. But the self is very, very low at the higher mind level, level 2, but the lowest of and it can be a very waking experience. You are in the world, you are waking, completely aware of everything. So, Shilpa, good morning.
Good morning, Rangadhar. Sorry, I joined a little late.
No problem. We are at page, you got the page, no?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
507.
Yeah. So it is superior to all principles, and in one and the same movement, simultaneously, it is superior to all, and yet it is enjoying everything in the physical world. But it's not bound. Like our enjoyment, when we are enjoying, there is attachment to what we are enjoying. There is also a limitation, and that becomes pleasure. But there it is not like that. You are enjoying, and yet at the same time, you are totally free. Okay? So that's what he is saying. Superior to all principles, and in one and the same motion, the enjoyer of all principles. It is free from all gunas. In fact, the gunas are body, mind, life. or you want sattva, rajas, tamas. So all these laws, and the gunas are the laws. You are bound to the gunas. The gunas bind you down. Okay? There's no freedom there. That's why you have to become triguna-atita, to be free. And that is possible at the higher mind level. It's possible. But Chandra is not talking of higher mind level. He's talking of the Ananda plane, which is absolutely transcendental. Okay. And the enjoyer of its own infinite gunas. The gunas in the level 1 are all finite. Okay? But here you are enjoying everything. In other words, what are you enjoying? If you are in that, you are enjoying the creation of matter, you are enjoying the movements of life, you are enjoying knowledge in all its aspects of the mind. Sattva, rajas, tamas. You are enjoying everything. It is above all forms and the builder and enjoyer of all its self forms. So itself, you are formless, but you have the power to make forms out of yourself. Note the word self forms. It's not forms in the physical world. All these physical forms have come out of the divine only. Because, as he says elsewhere, the evolution is not a creation of new states. It is only what is there inside you are bringing out. That which is already there is coming out. The whole universe, with all its variety and infinite variations, is all there in the divine. He is only bringing it out. And it takes infinite time to bring it out. Because, see, if you think of plant species, if you think of animal species, new ones are coming up all the time. And old ones are sometimes dying out. Okay? But the divine is least bothered about what is surviving and what is not surviving. Because for him, the possibilities are immense. He goes on creating. It is human beings who worry about extinct animals and extinct species. Maybe it's right, but for him it makes very little difference. He's going on creating. Nothing is lost. He goes on creating infinitely. So this is what he's saying. Himself formless, he is building infinite forms. Out of what? Out of his own substance, of all his self forms and figures. Figure is a representation, a symbol. Just like when he uses the word figure, he is always using it in the sense of a representation, a symbol. My ring is a symbol of mother. It is not mother itself, but it is connected with it. So forms and figures he uses in that sense, representations. This unimaginable completeness, absolutely unimaginable, we can't even imagine. Unimaginable completeness is what the spirit is. This is what God is. The spirit, transcendent and universal. There you are. Transcendent, you are not bound by anything. And universal, because you are enjoying everything. And to be one in bliss with the transcendent and universal spirit is for the soul to be that and nothing else. In other words, you have become one with everything. And the enjoyment is, therefore, the enjoyment of your own forms. Normally, when we say we enjoy something, it is something different from us. No? If I am enjoying a nice food, that food is separate from me. But here, I have only created the food and I am enjoying it and it is part of me. That's what Sridhar is saying. Look at the sentence. This unimaginable completeness is what the spirit is. The spirit, transcendent and universal, level 2 and level 3. And to be one in bliss with the transcendent and universal spirit is for the soul to be that and nothing else. You have become that. In other words, now he is bringing it also the question of the substance. Necessarily, since there is on this plane the absolute and the play of absolutes, it is ineffable by any of the conceptions of our mind or by signs of the phenomenal or ideal realities of which mind conceptions are the figures in our intelligence. So what he's saying is, it's impossible for man to imagine what those things are. You can think of pleasure, but you cannot think of what is ananda. You can extend it quantitatively, but not qualitatively. I am getting a little bit of pleasure. If I get more pleasure, you think that ananda is most pleasure. But it's not like that. It is something totally different from what you think it is. The symbol, the expressive reality, is the physical world. It is the expression of the divine. May give an idea. Okay? When I see the symbol, mother symbol, my mind may go to mother. Okay? It is possible. The symbol, the expressive reality, may give an idea, a perception, a sense, a vision, contact even of the thing itself to us. But at last, we get beyond it to the thing it symbolizes. Transcend idea, vision, contact, pierce through the ideal and pass to the real realities. Look at the word real realities, because there is reality at every level, but the reality at the lower levels is relatively less. Okay? As you keep going more higher and higher, it becomes more and more real. So reality also, there are many. So you also use word perfection, because at every level, the perfection possible is achieved at that level. Mother says very clearly, the animal world is perfect. That's exactly what it should be. Nothing else is possible. So that's why he uses such words. Real reality, perfection. There's a gradation. And as you keep going up, the reality becomes more and more real and more perfect. Okay, so the symbol, he's saying, can give you and put you in touch with the reality behind the symbol. Okay. And at a very low level, we can understand this also, because when spirits, okay, when spiritual people want to put themselves in touch with something, okay, someone says, I'll give you an example. Someone says to mother, my friend in Bombay is very keen to join the ashram, and he's got a spiritual life. So what do you say? The mother will say, tell him to send me a photograph. Now, when that photograph comes, it's a photograph of himself. So that is a symbol. And when mother looks at that symbol, we may not be able to, but she can put herself entirely in touch with the person who is in the photograph. Now, look at this sentence again, and you will see that that's what he's saying. Okay? The symbol, the photograph, the expressive reality, may give an idea, a perception, sense, vision, contact, even of the thing itself to us. But at last, we get beyond to the thing it symbolizes. Then, for mother, it is possible through the photograph to see the man whose photograph she is seeing. Transcend idea, vision, contact, pierce through the ideal and pass to the real realities. At the Ananda level, you don't need photographs. She doesn't need. So, if she is at that Ananda level, mother is there, and someone says, there is such a person in Bombay who is keen, she doesn't need a photograph. She will immediately identify with that person with her high level of consciousness. That's what is being said. Okay? So you can imagine how high that consciousness must be. The supreme, the timeless, the eternal, the infinitely infinite. Now, someone who doesn't understand that will say, what is this nonsense? Infinite is infinite. But there are infinitely infinite levels. Even in mathematics, we have that concept. You know? I give you a very easy example, you will understand. Okay? Suppose I am a hotelier. This is actually given in the mathematics. Okay? It's very interesting. I am explaining to you timeless, infinitely infinite, real reality. These are all funny words to use. But they're even in mathematics. Okay? For instance, I am a hotelier and I have got 100 rooms in my hotel. If 100 people come, I can accommodate them. But if 101 comes, I can't accommodate. I am limited. But now suppose my hotel doesn't have 100 rooms, but has infinite rooms. Okay. So anyone who comes, I will be able to give a room to them. But now what happens? Let us assume that even my infinite rooms are all full. Then what do? If more people come, I will put 2 beds in each room, not 1. So in other words, now I've gone to level 2 of the infinite. Okay, this is a way of explaining that there are levels of infinity also. Matter is infinite, okay, but it's at a lower level. Life is also infinite, but it's at a higher level. Mind also is infinite, but a higher level. So this is infinitely infinite. You can understand in this way. Okay. Now, we read the next paragraph. Our first absorbing impulse. So, yeah, now we can read. Archanadi, you are in a position to read?
Yes, Rangada, I'm reading.
Okay, go ahead. Our first absorbing impulse.
Our first absorbing impulse, when we become inwardly aware of something what entirely beyond what we now are and know and are powerfully attracted to it, is to get away from the present actuality and dwell in that higher reality altogether. The extreme form of this attraction, when we are drawn to the supreme existence and the infinite Ananda, is the condemnation of the lower and the finite as an illusion and an aspiration to nirvana in the beyond. The passion for dissolution, immersion, extension in the spirit. But the real dissolution, the true nirvana, is the release of all that is blindingly characteristic of the lower into the larger being of the higher. The conscious possession of the living symbol by the living real. We discover in the end that not only is that higher reality the cause of all the rest, not only it embraces and exists in all the rest, but as more and more we possess it, all this rest is transformed in our soul experience into a superior value and becomes the means of a richer experience of the real, a more many sided communion with the infinite, a larger ascent to the supreme. Finally, we get close to the absolute and its supreme values, which are the absolutes of all things. We lose the passion for release, mumukshutva, which till then actuated us, because we are now intimately near to that which is ever free, that which is neither attracted into attachment by what binds us now, or afraid of what it to us seems to be bondage. It is only by the loss of the bound soul's exclusive passion for its freedom that there can come an absolute liberation of our nature. The divine attracts the soul of man to him by various lures. All of them are born of its own relative and imperfect conceptions of bliss. All are its ways of seeking for the Anand. But if clung to till the end, is the inexpressible truth of those surpassing felicities. First in order comes the lure of an earthly reward, a prize of material, intellectual, ethical, or other joy in the terrestrial mind and body. A second, remoter, greater version of the same fruitful error is the hope of a heavenly bliss far exceeding these earthly rewards. The conception of heaven rises in altitude and purity till it reaches the pure idea of the eternal presence of God or an unending union with the eternal. And last, we get the subtlest of all lures, an escape from these worldly or heavenly joys, and from all pains and sorrows, effort and trouble, and from all phenomenal things. A nirvana, a self dissolution in the absolute, an ananda of cessation, and ineffable peace. In the end, all these joys of the mind have to be transcendent. The fear of birth and the desire of escape from birth must entirely fall away from us. For, to repeat the ancient language, the soul that has realized oneness has no sorrow or shrinking. The spirit that has entered into the bliss of the spirit has not to fear from anyone or anything whatsoever. Fear, desire, and sorrow are diseases of the mind, born of its sense of division and limitation. They cease with the falsehood that begot them. The Ananda is free from these maladies. It is not the monopoly of the ascetic. It is not born from the disgust of existence.
Okay, so very big para. And we're discussing here the various levels of Ananda. Okay, so he's telling you how, and these are all, he's calling them deos. They are like the carrot and stick policy. Okay, even the stick, the suffering. You know the phrase, no? There is a how to make the donkey move. You dangle a carrot in front of him, and he will try to get that carrot. So he'll start moving. Okay. And if he doesn't move, you have the stick. You beat him up with the stick, and he'll start moving. So the yours is saying is exactly also like that. First, he has said many. It's a very long paragraph, and we can start. But I'm just giving the gist of what he's saying. So the stick is the suffering that you have. And suffering can goad you to go to a level where there is no suffering. So it's an urging for you to go beyond the state that you are in. Okay? And the carrot is the lure that he's saying. You want pleasure, but that pleasure at the lowest level, and as it keeps going up, it becomes purer and purer. And at the highest level, it is liberation. That's what basically he's saying. Okay? But in the Ananda plane, if you want to go to the highest, there should be no motive for enjoyment or no motive for escape from life. It will absolutely, you will get everything you want, but you don't even hanker for it. That's what he's saying. Okay, so we'll try. We may have to stop in the middle of a para, but we'll see how far we can go. So, simply saying, our first absorbing impulse, when we become inwardly aware of something entirely beyond what we now are is level 1. So, inwardly or something entirely beyond is level 2, the spiritual planes of consciousness. And know that we are and know and are powerfully attracted to it. The idea is, you may have idea of perfection, you may have idea of God, you may have idea of power, you may have idea of peace, okay? All these things. That's why Sindhi is keeping it something entirely beyond. That something can be peace, it can be power, it can be consciousness, it can be ananda, but at a lower level. Okay? We become inwardly aware of something entirely beyond, and we are attracted to it. That's a normal condition. Is to get away from the present actuality. Present actuality, your body, mind, life, and life in the physical world, and dwell in that higher reality altogether. So when you get the first experience of the spiritual planes of consciousness, you are not interested anymore in the present actuality, means your old life in the body, mind, life. You are not interested at all. It is so wonderful thing. Even a small touch of the higher planes can make you absolutely, it can force you not to have any interest in physical things. That's what Sindhi is saying. Get away from the present activity and dwell in that higher reality alone. But there are consequences to that. That's what he's now discussing. This extreme form of this attraction, when we are drawn to the supreme existence and the infinite Ananda, is a condemnation of the lower and the finite as an illusion, an aspiration to nirvana in the beyond, the passion for dissolution, immersion, extinction in the spirit. So simply saying, when you have attached to the spiritual planes of consciousness, the normal reaction, 90% of the time, it didn't happen this way, But normal reaction is, the physical world is worthless. It's a trinket. What's the use? I want gold. I've got gold, so why should I worry about small trinkets, which are absolutely of no use at all? They're all fake. You even condemn it and say it is even unreal. It's an illusion. You go so far. This is the first reaction when you go to the spiritual planes of consciousness. 90% of the yogis will think in that way. That's what Sri said. But he doesn't agree with them, because the divine is there even in the physical world, and you have to not condemn it, but try and see the divine everywhere. Transcendentally, cosmic, in the cosmos, and in the individual. So, this extreme form of attraction, when we are drawn to the supreme existence and the infinite another, is a condemnation of the lower. The lower is the level 1 and the finite, as an illusion and an aspiration to nirvana in the beyond. The passion and the nirvana is what? Dissolution, immersion, extinction in the spirit. So it can be extinction of an ego. And your body mind life is so gross and so many desires and so many attachments. You don't want any of those. You're totally free. So you don't want this. Extinction in the spirit. That's what you want. But the real dissolution, the true nirvana, is not the release of all that is bindingly characteristic of the lower into the larger being of the higher, the conscious possession of the living symbol in the living real. So Swami is saying, dissolution is not the dissolution of ego, okay? Dissolution of your ignorance, dissolution of your desires. That is to be dissolved, but not the physical world itself, nor your body-mind life. The true nirvana is the release of all that is bindingly characteristic of the lower. So which are the binding characteristics of the lower? Attachment, desire, and ego. That is to be dissolved. That's what Swami is saying. He is using different words, and he's saying bindingly characteristic of the lower. These are the things that bind you down to the lower. Normally 3: ego, attachment, and desire. Of the lower into the larger being of the higher, the conscious possession of the living symbol by the living real. Now the symbol, you are condemning and you want to go to the living real. But Swami is saying, you don't need to do that. Even the symbol can be seen as living and real. But that can be realized only when you go higher up, even higher than the higher mind. We discover in the end that not only is that higher reality the cause of all the rest, not only it embraces and exists, and not only exists in all the rest, but as more and more we possess it, all this rest is transformed in our soul experience into a superior value and becomes the means of a richer expression of the real, the more many-sided communion with the infinite, a larger ascent of the Supreme. So he's saying, first when you go to the higher mind level and experience nirvana, there is a tendency to condemn the physical world as unreal. It's an illusion. But Shri is saying that is not necessary. You go slightly higher level and you will start seeing the divine even in matter, even in the impure vital, even in the ignorant mind. You will see the divine. And then you will not reject anything. That's what he said. Okay? The real dissolution, the real dissolution is an ego, ignorance, attachment, and desire. The true nirvana is the release of all that is bindingly characteristic, sattva, rajas, tamas, if you want. The lower into the larger being of the higher, the conscious possession of the living symbol by the living real. The living real is a higher consciousness and the symbol is the lower consciousness. But now when you realize that the divine is here also, that symbol also becomes real. living. It's not a dead symbol, it's a living symbol. Okay, that's what it is. We are analyzing, see, and he's living is a very important word there. Normally the symbol is dead, but if you are at that sufficiently high level, even the symbol is glowing with the divine presence. That's why it is living. We discover in the end that not only is that higher reality the cause of all the rest. So we see that the physical world is not unreal and it's not an illusion. It is the divine himself who has created this. We discovered then that not only is that higher reality the cause of all the rest. The higher is the cause of the lower. Not only it embraces and exists in all the rest, but as more and more we possess it, all this rest is transformed in our soul experience into a superior value and becomes the means of a richer expression of the real, a more many-sided communion with the infinite, a larger ascent to the supreme. So you realize that matter also is Brahman. In fact, that's what he says right in chapter 1, okay, Life Divine. He says, we are not in Life Divine now, we are in synthesis. But in the Life Divine, he says that the physical world is not to be condemned. It's a fit clothing for the God, for the divine. The divine is coming down and using the physical world, body, mind, life, as a clothing. It is clothed with all these three. Then next he says, it is not only worthy of being as a clothing for the divine, but is itself the divine. That's what he's stressing here also. Okay? He's saying itself, matter is itself the divine. Finally, we get close to the absolute and its supreme values, which are the absolute of all things. So this is the Ananda plane. We lose the passion for release. Even the aspiration ceases. I don't mumukshutva, moksha. Even the desire for moksha is gone, which till then actuated us, because we are now infinitely near to that which is ever free, that which is neither attracted into attachment, by what binds us now, nor afraid of what to us seems to be bondage. There is no bondage for you, and you are not even afraid of bondage. You are not afraid of living in the physical world. It is only by the loss of the bound soul's exclusive passion. Bound soul's exclusive passion. For its freedom, that there can come an absolute liberation of our nature. The absolute liberation comes at the third level. The relative liberation comes at level 2. Okay? But the absolute liberation comes at the highest level. Nothing binds you down, and you are not afraid of even coming down. The divine attracts the soul of man to him by various lures, various lollipops, if you want. All of them are born of its own relative and imperfect conceptions of bliss. All are its ways of seeking for the Ananda. But if clung to till the end, miss the inexpressible truth of these surpassing felicities. So you must go beyond any level of enjoyment. You will go even more. That's what I say. Enjoyment becomes purer and purer. There is enjoyment even at the lower level. Okay? We can enjoy good food, we can enjoy good cinema, we can enjoy a good flower, we can enjoy a good thought, or a beautiful emotion. We can enjoy all this, but the higher enjoyment. A second remoter, greater version of the same fruitful error. Look at that. Somebody is using the word error. Okay? The error of the level 1 is they are hankering for pleasure. But they are hankering for pleasure at the physical level. Now Sadhguru is saying a second remoter is I want spiritual consciousness. That also is a fruitful error. And look at the word. Why is it fruitful? because it is taking you higher. But still it's an error. Even the spiritual planes of consciousness are very fruitful, but they are still an error because you can go even higher. Okay? See, Srinath's language, he's so fond of oxymoron because there's so much sense in it. A secondary motor, the first is pleasure, common pleasure. The secondary motor, greater version of the same fruitful error. The fruitful error is seeking for pleasure, but now it becomes seeking for ananda. Is the hope of a heavenly bliss far exceeding these earthly rewards. Earthly rewards, physical pleasures, success, okay, fame, name, these are the earthly rewards. The conception of heaven rises in altitude. It rises going higher and higher, and purity, till it reaches the pure idea of an eternal presence of God or an unending union with the eternal. So there is a third one. And when that goes, there is no more hankering for even enjoyment. And last, we get the subtlest of all lures, an escape from these worldly or heavenly joys and from all pains and sorrows and effort and trouble, and from all phenomenal things, a nirvana, a dissolution in the absolute, an ananda of cessation and ineffable peace. In other words, this also is saying it's a lure. In other words, even your lure for complete liberation is a lure, it's a desire. You don't give that up. In the end, Srinath is calling all these things toys. The toy of the physical world is enjoyment. The toy of the level 2 is liberation and enjoyment of the liberation. The third level is you want absolute. Even that's a toy. So at the transcendental supramental level, all toys are seen to be only toys and must be transcended. The fear of birth and the desire of escape from birth must entirely fall away from us. For to repeat the ancient language. The ancient language is referring to the Isha Upanishad. Ka moha kaha shoka. That's what he's saying. There is no delusion for the one who is in a transcendental consciousness. There is no fear of death. There is no moha, no confusion, and no sorrow also. For, to repeat the ancient language, the soul that has realized oneness, ekatvam anupashyata, that's what he is talking about. Yeah, ekatvam anupashyata, kaha moha kaha shoka, has realized oneness, has no sorrow or shrinking. The spirit that has entered into the bliss of the spirit that has entered into the bliss of the spirit, the gone into Ananda, has not to fear, has nothing to fear from anyone or anything whatsoever. Fear, desire, and sorrow are diseases of the mind, born of its sense of division and limitation. They cease with the falsehood that begot them. Begot, to beget is to give birth to. So the falsehood that gave birth to fear, desire, and sorrow all disappear. The Ananda is free from these maladies. It is not the monopoly of the ascetic. It is not born from the disgust of existence. The Ananda is definitely not given to you because of your disgust of existence. Even existence at the lowest level, you are enjoying. So, wonderful para, and it is so beautifully describing the Ananda. So, the bliss soul is not bound to birth. This is the next one. We'll read that next time. We are not far beyond our time. It's 8:40. But actually, as Achanadi points out, we can go up to 8:40 because my next class starts a little later. So anyway, so au revoir, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Rangada.
Thanks, Rangada.